Why are the voluntary guidelines important?
At history, since time immemorial, people always fought for land, among others. You know, there were many reasons to fight and kill each other. One of them is land. Today, surprisingly, while there is less violence on land ownership and occupancy, there is fear from a lot of people, valid fears from them, that because of the renewed interest on land and natural resources as a result of so many factors like economic development, urban development, biofuels, there is a renewed interest to acquire land. And this has led to fears that people might again be displaced. And so many countries are trying to develop and protect their own citizens from these encroachments. So it is very important to address the issue of land ownership and tenure systems to ensure that country citizens are protected from these unnecessary and unwanted developments by those who are, let us say, much more economically powerful. So, in that respect, the development of the voluntary guidelines on land tenure is crucial, especially at this point in time.
How can the voluntary guidelines be used?
Well, even if they are voluntary and even if they are not a legally binding instrument, these voluntary guidelines exert a moral suasion on countries, their leaders, to develop laws, rules, and regulations, to develop programs that will hopefully be for the greater benefit of their citizens. You would be surprised that just as there are many countries, there are as many tenure systems in the world. You know, people have a different historical development, and therefore, out of this, there arose certain or a lot of models on tenure systems. So these voluntary guidelines will try to improve, you know, and bring ownership and occupancy systems, tenure systems, into line with the modern world, and perhaps also respect the traditional rights that people have in certain countries and in certain peoples.
Can you share your views about the development process of the voluntary guidelines?
Well, it took a long time to develop these guidelines. In fact, the FAO started their consultations maybe since 2007. I think the FAO had organized consultations in so many regions. Perhaps they must have reached out to over 1,000 various stakeholders and actors in all the regions. I also believe that they held consultations specifically for the private sector in Asia, Africa, Latin America, and Europe. And out of this, last year during the 36th session of the CFS, the decision of member countries was to continue the development of these voluntary guidelines so that hopefully it can be approved during this coming 37th session of the CFS next week. Well, we have had 2 sessions of proper negotiations. We also had 1 session of reading over the draft guidelines last May. And this week, we are trying to conclude the negotiations. The negotiation process itself is very tough. It's extremely difficult, simply because land tenure is a very complex system. You know, I mean, it is as old as humanity itself. So I feel that while member countries have a sincere desire to bring this into conclusion, we are still in the middle of the negotiations as of this very hour. And I hope that with enough goodwill and with enough commitment, it can be concluded in time for the 37th session of the Committee on World Food Security next week.
Thank you.
Thank you.